He was my favorite idol. Y'all know who that is. Emeril Lagasse. He's probably the man in my book. Hey y'all, it's ArnieTex, and I'm excited to be here today in the Made in Studio cooking my ideal breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Vámonos! I've been pretty much cooking my whole life, kind of watch and learn from my dad and my grandpa growing up. Managed to get into the International Barbecue Cookers Hall of Fame. Later on, moved on to teach classes and show people how to win in competition barbecue. All along there, I've always enjoyed cooking, and it's not just barbecue. I mean, I love being in the kitchen. I love creating recipes. I love experimenting and just throwing things together to see how they turn out. It's usually very, very good. My ideal breakfast is usually like choripapas. When I make this breakfast, I like to start with my salsa first. I like to get my tomatoes, tomatillos, and chiles, and maybe a garlic and an onion on there on the griddle. When these tomatoes start to dance like that, you look at that, I like to stand them up, and then they do the cumbia. All right, now these jalapenos, tomatillos, and tomatoes are starting to smell really good. If you're at home watching this, make sure you hit that smell-o-vision button, crank it up on high so you can get the same aromas I'm getting. As most people know, food just brings people together and makes people happy, and that's probably one of the reasons I love cooking as well. I love to see people smile. I like to make my salsa first because then it has enough time for all the flavors to kind of commingle, and when all your other meal is ready, you just pour it onto your taco. Let's do some refried beans. I'm gonna put some on this made-in griddle. It's nice and hot already, just enough. You just wanna go ahead and start smashing them. You can use a potato smasher, but this is really cool doing it on the griddle because you can be over a fire outside doing this. It doesn't have to be in your kitchen. Today we're in the kitchen, but this also works on the grill outside. Or if you're out camping somewhere, take your griddle with you. Am I a morning person? Nowadays, I like getting up at 7, so I don't know if you'd call that a morning person or not. At the end of the day, I'm gonna say yes. How do I prefer my eggs? You know, honestly, I just love eggs. If I can have over easies or sauteed eggs every day, that's the way I'd like them. I'm gonna put a little drop of water so they get a little steam going in there under the cover. That helps them cook a little bit quicker on the griddle. Got the other griddle over here. I'm gonna add all this chorizo in here. You want enough heat to give it a little bit of a sear. And if you look close, you'll see here how the texture is beginning to change. That's how you know when it's getting done. It starts to look sort of like ground beef, but in this case it's pork. There's a bunch of other good herbs and good stuff in there. So it's time to get the chorizo off of the other griddle, put it over here with the potatoes, bring it all together, tie it all together. That just makes for a much, much better taco. Start warming up some tortillas. What makes a great tortilla is it's nice, fluffy, it doesn't get hard when you fold it over or as it starts to cool off. The tortilla stays nice and soft all the way through till you're down to that last bite. Lay the tortilla on the nice plate, put a little bit of beans, put a little bit of cheese. I'm gonna put those choripapas onto that beans and cheese taco. Lay a little salsa in there, fold it over, and take that big old bite. My favorite part of every recipe is that bite. It's just amazing. And then it's just like, boom, we nailed it. Man, that's just like a breakfast made in heaven for me. I mean, that'll power me through the day if I have to, all the way to dinner time. But usually I like to eat lunch too. We have a thing, Terry and I in our house, we call it dinner, because a lot of times we're eating lunch at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and so it's a lunch and a dinner, so we call it dinner. For one of my ideal lunches, one of our favorite things to do for a quick and easy meal is a nice hamburguesa. A hamburguesa is basically the Mexican version of a hamburger. Really good hamburguesa starts with bacon on the griddle. So I want to sear those really quick, make sure the bacon's cooked through. If it starts to curl up a little too much, you want it to cook nice and even. Just put your little made-in press there for a little bit, and it'll flatten it out, and then you'll be good to go. Just nice and crispy. Then I'm gonna take a slice of ham, lay that onto a little bit of that bacon grease. We're gonna add that extra flavor in there and make it extra yummy. I like to make my burger into little 8-ounce balls. I like an 80-20 blend, preferably. It's not a smash burger, it's a hamburger. Don't smash that burger to smithereens. Just give it a nice little press. Get a nice sear on both sides. Friends, that's what I like to see. This made-in griddle, when you get your heat just right, I mean, look at that beautiful sear. It's just gorgeous. It doesn't take but a few minutes to get these burgers done just right. What do I love about the made-in carbon steel griddle? It's the perfect size. It's the perfect thickness. I mean, it's thick. It's made for fire, and the made-in griddle fits that perfect because I can use it on my stovetop. I can take it outside, and it does the job perfect every time. Put a slice of Swiss cheese on there, some good old American cheese, lay that on top of the Swiss, put the lid on here for just a minute, let that cheese melt really, really good with that extra heat that's in there. Lay that nice looking patty onto the bottom bun, little squeeze of mustard. I love mustard on my hamburgers. Lay that ham on there, lay my bacon on top of that, then comes the lettuce, the tomatoes, the pickles, lots of pickles. Slice that jalapeno, put a couple of slices in there as well. Slather a little bit of that avocado, maybe a lot, on that top bun. Lay it on top of that hamburguesa. Take a big old bite, my favorite part. Boom! I think, Central Texas smoked barbecue is probably the #1 most popular barbecue in the world because, it's the best. There's a lot of great barbecue all over the world. But if you notice, the people in Australia, in Germany, and other parts of the world, they never say, man, I'm gonna learn how to make California barbecue. It's always Texas style. If you follow barbecue creators on social media, especially YouTube, it's always, we're making Texas style brisket. Texas is the leader when it comes to barbecue, and Texas makes the best barbecue, in my opinion. What are the best sides for barbecue? I love a good potato salad. I love a good macaroni and cheese on the side, or what I call barbecue beans, where you throw in a little bit of salsa in there, and a little bit of chili powder, and a little bit of chopped brisket in there. That's a barbecue bean made in heaven. Well, now let's keep in mind that I grew up in South Texas, and in South Texas, fajitas are a big staple. So my ideal dinner is always gonna involve fajitas. Some of the most important techniques that I've learned throughout my barbecue journey are, #1, you gotta buy good meat. And I learned that from one of my neighbors many, many years ago. He was a big steak and wine guy. He used to tell me, Arnie, if you want a good piece of meat, buy a good piece of meat first. Fajita tacos are my ideal dinner because you can slice them easy, and if you have a good cut, they're tender, they're juicy, and they're super flavorful, and they just are an excellent, excellent choice of meat for dinner. Time to get that made-in griddle nice and hot. Fajitas and most meats nowadays have a lot of water in them. So you want to get that griddle really hot so you can steam off as much of that water as possible right at the beginning. Get a nice little sear going there. You want to go ahead and throw in your veggies in there and start tossing them all together. I really, really like this carbon steel pan. This is probably the 10th time I've made this particular dish on the carbon steel griddle. I love it. This is just really a great all-around little griddle. Takes a lot of heat. It doesn't warp. It just cooks great. Corn is okay, but for fajita tacos, man, you can't beat a nice, warm, fluffy, floured tortilla. They're the best. The avocado is our bed liner. It keeps that tortilla nice and soft without getting soggy. Now, in my case, I eat them so fast it usually doesn't happen, but not everybody eats like I do. Stuff it with some of this restaurant-style fajitas that are my absolute favorite. Lay a little pico de gallo on there. Take that big old delicious bite of my favorite dinner. Once again, everybody, this is ArnieTex at the Made In Studio. Thank you for watching my favorite breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Vámonos! Boom!
Good cut.